Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to the first round of the PSGL FP Challenge Cup. We're here for the first round in Belgium at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and that is not only me, your commentator Felix from PSGL F3, but it's also Jack from PSGL F3. Hello and welcome.
Hello, it's my first time ever commenting with PSGL. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for however many rounds we got with this. I'm not actually that sure, but I'm very excited. It's going to be some good, intense racing.
Yeah, so I certainly hope so, and it's a very special format. That's why we actually started the stream a bit early, just to get you all up to date with what is going on. So basically this is a Formula Performance Challenge Cup, which means we've got a slight change. We've got a qualifying race, which is going to be a 5-lap race, which will determine the grid order for the 50% feature race, which will follow right after that. The grid order of the qualifying race will be decided by the championship standings, but for this first round, the starting grid is going to be random. Obviously, realistic cars to make the grid a bit more equal, to get the pace a bit more on equal levels, and hopefully that will create some excitement. And yeah, the qualifying race results will be taken for the feature race grid for the start. So top 10 in the qualifying race actually get points from 10 points for first all the way down to 1 point for 10th. And then in the feature race, you'll see the usual PSGL points system, which are being added to those points of the qualifying race. So hopefully that will create some entertainment, and for Monaco we've got something special which we are not going to talk about just yet. We are waiting till that time actually comes, but perfect timing basically, Jack. The drivers are readying up, and just tell us, what do you expect from the first week of the Challenge Cup with that new format, and for this grid too?
Well, I imagine for the 5-lap race we're going to see kind of two different sides of the spectrum. We're going to see very aggressive driving to try and get that best qualifying position possible for the feature race, and we're going to see some very passive driving just to conserve the car, to make sure they can get through to the end of the race in case there are crashes ahead of them. So they're kind of the two sides of the story I think we're going to see. But for the feature race, it's anyone's guess with the different performances of the cars, you know, different weaknesses, different strengths. The cars like the Williams, awful downforce, but you know, it's got a decent engine so it can keep up on the Kemmel straight. Then maybe sort of sector 2 they're going to be a bit weak. And then you've got some of the not so good engines like maybe Red Bull or Renault, who are going to drop back a bit on the Kemmel straight or the lead up into the bus stop chicane. So, you know, I think this can, the realistic cars can really jumble up this grid, make it interesting.
Yeah, I certainly hope it will create some entertainment, especially for the views, and I hope the drivers will behave well. But obviously first time, and you are definitely correct by saying you have to find that balance between aggression and just bringing the car home to get a decent grid starting position for the feature race, which obviously gives a lot more points than the qualifying race. But we will run through the teams which are not determined by the cars that are chosen or which the drivers have been put in. That is a different story. The cars will also be decided by how many drivers on the championship positions. It slides out and away we go. I had quite a lag. Nano Bacon starting for pole. Both McLarens actually. I couldn't really talk about much, but there we go. Nano Bacon goes into the lead, into the first corner. There goes Praga down the inside into Las Soas, and he takes second place from the McLaren teammate, going nearly side by side up to Arouge now. In the background we've got a 3-wide situation. Oh, they kept it clean so far. The Toro Rossos are going side by side, Bugatti and CC Brain. Then we've got another 3-wide moment between Lick and Bugatti, and Blizz 3-wide on the Camel Straight. Now the Red Bull joins the story. That is incredible racing on the first lap of this race. Let's go on board with Lico for a second. Who will come out on top? It seems to be Lico, but CC Brain has made up places again, and he has made contact with Greenwood. Very close, and now yet again contact. He drops down even further.
Okay, I think I've seen a little bit of damage into the first corner from one of the Ferraris. I believe that is Davey. Also, maybe one of the Renaults has got damage, but it's a very intense first lap.
And it's chaos! It's chaos and a lot of people retiring. Obviously, no safety car. And oh my goodness, that is carnage in the background.
You got Ferrari in the wall, Racing Point spinning out. We got 3 cars out: CC Brain, Bugatti, and Mileham. So that is going to be a lot of damage to Racing Point with no wing. Davey has no end plates. Nano Bacon, I don't think he has a wing either. Yep, that's more end plates gone for them. So big damage at the start. So this is what I was talking about, the aggression and damage, which means Iron Neon has just gone from P20 all the way up into P8 just by avoiding the crashes. So interesting start to race already.
Yeah, very interesting start. We didn't have much time to talk about anything before the start of the race. I was really confused because it was loading at the start. But right now we still have Jolene. No, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I'm just going to say Manu for this race. And Prague is following really closely. He's had a great start going down the inside of the first McLaren, who's dropped down massively. Nano Bacon is down in last place at the moment. We see people pitting because of that carnage. And I'm not quite sure what caused it, but let's see if Prague is actually able to overtake the McLaren on that long camel straight. He is not that close right now, but he's got a great run out of Radion. Let's see, is he close enough? No DRS enabled yet, but I think he still has to wait yet another lap, but he is looking to take that feature race pole position.
It looks like it. So these two running very close together, but we've had almost half the grid into pits off of lap 1, so...
Oh, actually, Iron Neon has lagged out.
Has he?
Yes,
oh, yeah,
he has lagged out. He was sitting comfortably in P8 or P7, I'm not quite sure. But we've got a really close fight for the feature race pole position. So much chaos going on at the back as well. Yeah, that aggression you were talking about before really, really was shown on that first lap. And we've got another yellow flag in the first sector. That's Bliss. Out he goes, spins out of Radion, it looks like. That looked like a hefty impact.
Yeah, we haven't had much time to be able to talk about the track much, but Radion is probably going to claim a few victims today, I imagine, as Davey is starting to close up a bit on his fellow pit stoppy New Zealand Cam. But once again, the fight at the front has turned into a 3-1 with Skeven. He's closing up to the 2 ahead of him, Manu and Praga. So, you know, it's already getting quite intense. I think
Jonathan and Lico are going side by side. Lico has got an end plate missing on the right hand side. Going side by side now through Blanchimont. A great move round the outside of Beasts. Great move, maybe now even down the inside into the bus stop chicane. No, he thinks better of it. Backs out of that move. That could have been quite nasty, but what a move round the outside of Lico in the Williams.
Yeah, that took quite a lot of bravery to be able to make off that move. Oh, the Renault just gone down the inside of Jonathan. Good move, good opportunistic move, except now DRS is enabled. I believe.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we have to go to the battle for first place. Here comes Praga on the McLaren driver. Not a great camera view from me there. In the background there's Skeven trying to take advantage of that whole situation as they got side by side and slight contact made, I think. But it's all fine, and Praga took the lead after he was looking to have great pace in his Renault. He takes the lead, and for the moment, he has got provisional feature race pole.
Renault's just gone round. There's been contact with the Williams, and the Renault is off into the grass. QPR beast. So unlucky for him. He's fighting with the 2 Williams boys, but I think, I'm not sure what happened, but I just saw the Renault spin around after contact with the Williams. But yeah, Praga making the most of that and getting in front of Manu, who's now got a second gap, as Manu is having a lot of pressure from Skeven, who tried to make the move, an opportunistic move into Lacombe, but couldn't quite happen for him. But now he's going to try it into the bus stop, I imagine.
Yeah, and both Williams are fighting it away. Lico with his front wing end plate missing, obviously has got a lot less downforce than the Williams has got anyway. So impressive job from those two, being a P5 and P6 after more or less avoiding that carnage on lap 1. But I hope we'll see a bit more clean racing in the feature race. I'm pretty sure we will see, because it's a lot more long-term motivated, especially with more points being up for grabs. Only 10 points in this race, but Praga is willing to take those 10 points, and Skeven is willing to take 9 points out of here. He wants that extra point. He wants that second place. Oh, and someone spun out of Puhon. I'm sorry. I think that's New Zealand Cam. He kept it out the wall, but lost a few positions.
It looks like it, but Skeven is now going to have DRS coming up through the Camel Straight, because Manu has dropped a second. He's really closing up through Radion though. Coming down the Camel Straight is going to be an easy overtake for Skeven. I imagine Manu has good straight line speed, but I don't think it's good enough to be able to compete with DRS. Praga has managed to get over a second gap, so he's got an advantage unless Skeven can now close up that 4/10 to be able to get
Oh,
DRS.
and here goes Jonathan on his teammate, Lickle on his on-track teammate, and that looks like an easy move as well. Yes, it is. He goes past him round the outside on the Camel Straight. Not really around the outside there. He just took the DRS with him and said thank you very much, took the place from the other Williams driver. And yeah, I think Lickle is really struggling with his missing end play, but with only 2 laps to go, it is looking very likely that he will keep that spot. New Zealand Cam has retired from the session. I think he crashed out of La Source. Let's go on board with try and catch. Yes, he has. Seems like he has just dropped it on the exit. Maybe Davey is able to set up a move on Greenwood. No, he is not. Iron Neon, meanwhile, still running in P8, even though he lagged out. Pretty sure he won't get that position then in the end. But let's see. Right now, not many on-track battles. But yeah, I think now the drivers just want to secure their current positions. And yeah, we have seen some overtakes, and I hope that's going to be a lot more, calm in the feature race. Otherwise, we're going to lose our voice after around 10 laps.
No, I imagine so. This race is already kicking up quite a lot of battles. There's Lickle blocks. There's all over the back of QPR Beast. He's going to have DRS. I don't think he's going to try into the source, but through the chemistry, I think so. We've got a couple of on-track battles now. We've got Davey with JP Greenwood. We also got Lickle blocks with QPR Beast.
I think Lickle's made a mistake, hasn't he? He wasn't
actually
front.
Yeah, he was just behind Jonathan. So I
think
he
had a 2-second gap, and now he lost it. And it's down to P7. Maybe that was a bit of a tactic to get the DRS on that long straight here for the final lap. But let's see, maybe he can get a good run. But yeah, like I said, that missing end plate is not really helping the Williams. And that low amount of downforce on that car won't do any better at that either. And here comes the Williams. Maybe he goes for a move down the inside. No, he thinks better of it, backs out, and maybe goes for or prepares himself for one last move, decisive move into the bus stop chicane. I mean, it is the last lap, and he probably wants to get that extra position for the feature race.
The issue with Lickle now, though, is coming into Sector 2, I feel like he kind of had to make that move, because with that Williams downforce and, I mean, the end plate missing from his car, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up through Sector 2. As you can see now, there's already a second
And Try and
gap.
Catch has been disqualified.
How?
For too many penalties. Within a 5-lap race, that is quite impressive.
I mean, that takes talent, I won't lie. It means to be something last on the next race, but unless Neon gets something for that, but that takes a serious amount of talent. I don't know how he's managed that. Hopefully it doesn't happen in the feature race, but it looks like Praga is going to take the win and pole position for the feature race, and 10 points to his name.
Yeah, Skeven comes second. Praga's done a great job from third on the grid. I don't know where Skeven started. Like we said, we didn't have too much time. Manu, after starting on pole, finishes in third. I think still a very good position for the actual race. Well, the Wolves in P4 in the end. Then Jonathan just in front of the... Oh no, actually behind on penalties. Behind QPR Beast. In the Renault, Lickle has picked up a 2-second time penalty on the last lap. It takes P7 for the starting grid of the feature race. Cayman, I hope it's Cayman, I'm not quite sure, but he will take 8th. And in front of Greeny if there aren't any penalties involved. And yes, he keeps the spot. Iron Neon, aka his ghosted car, because he left the session, will take 10th, but I'm not sure if he will keep that spot. Davey gets P11, Greenwood takes P12, and Sam last out of the finishes, and already 7 retirements from this race. I imagine that's not going to be as much for the feature race. I think a lot of people will take it a lot more calmly.
Yeah, I was saying at the start of the race about aggression, we didn't have much time to run through the grid or anything with no formation up for this 5-lapper, and the lobby kind of glitched out a bit, giving us a bit of delay. But here are our podium cities: Praga, Skeven and Manu.
Yeah, Praga, that was important that he made that move on the McLaren of Manu early on in the race, so he could pull away, and Skeven was not really a threat anymore because he had to take his time to get past the McLaren driver as well, and that eventually got Lewis, aka Praga, the gap to hold that win. But right now we can actually run through the teams real quick, because like I said, the drivers that are in the same team on track are actually not teammates. So we've got the team of Greeny and CC Brain. called F2's Finest. Then the team called I Don't Know, which has Lickle and Alfie in it. So a lot of strong teams to start with. Then Joe and Lewis, the Free Radicals. Then Praga and Neon, which is called Neon X30. Oh, lads, that's not the most creative name, but anyway. Nano Bacon and Biz are called Nano Biz. Not that creative either, but we'll take it. Sam and New Zealand Cam are Bad Luck Bottles. Malham and PMP will make the team practice makes perfect. JP and Skeven have not told us their names or their team's name. And Jonathan and Davey W are the Cool Tards. Tipson and Cayman are not have not sent in their names either. So they can't be called by a certain name. But yes, I'm pretty sure that the next race should get underway as soon as the custom grid is set. But I'm right now trying to look for it, and I don't think Tipson is actually racing, is he?
We have a 20-car grid, but I didn't see his name there, so I think we might have some sort of reserve filling in right now.
Yeah, I think that might be... Is that Jonathan, maybe? Did I mention him?
Jonathan's in the Cool Tots.
Oh, yeah, you are right, actually. Might it be...
Willow Wolves?
That might be the
maybe
case.
Willow Wolves.
Yeah, in the Haas. Yeah, that might be the case, actually. But we'll have to find out. Obviously, it's a new format for us as well as commentators. And I was quite surprised by the early start because it seemed like on the right-hand side it was still loading for me. So I wasn't quite sure if we've got the lobby glitch or if it was actually going ahead. But it was going ahead. So I'm sorry for that delayed commentating on that start. But I think... yeah, it's not that easy to commentate over a 5-lap qualifying race because it's so hectic and so much is going on at the same time, especially at such a great track as Spa. But yeah, I think the qualifying races already set the expectations for the feature race quite high.
Yeah, it has Belgium being quite a long track, so you can get cars quite spread out, but the 2 long straights on this track can really... They're your biggest overtaking opportunities, as the slipstream DRS on this track could be very, very strong. But this track also throwing up a few, talking points, like Tack being disqualified, which was a surprise to me. I saw he got 7 warnings on that one lap where he got disqualified, which surprised me, I won't lie. And also had, 6 or 7 DNFs on top of that, so Radion's going to be obviously quite a big thing, as you can just get spat out of that if you get it wrong, and you can also cut that corner and get penalties, so I feel like penalties are going to become a factor in this race also.
Yeah, especially with that low downforce cars like the Williams or the Alfa Romeo, which haven't got the best of downforce packages on their cars, but they will have to deal with it with those realistic cars which are supposed to make the pace a bit more equal. But I think Praga might have really good chances in his Renault today of taking the win, obviously starting from pole position. He did have quite a lot of luck as well, starting P3 in obviously random grids. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how this race goes out. We have a few quick drivers starting at the back, known as Bugatti, for example, who is actually the PSGL FP champion from last season, won it in exactly that car, in that Toro Rosso. He finished it off in style with a podium, and yeah, this time he is together in that car with CC Brain. So we're just waiting on the preparations to be made. Now obviously the safety car gets on, and we should be able to get on our way shortly. I'm actually not sure if we have got a formation lap now before this race, but we might have.
I'm trying to look in the thing at the bottom, but I don't think it says if we have formation lap or not, so we're going to have to be prepared for that this time, I guess. So.
Yeah, I mean, we know the grid order. We ran through it after the qualifying race is finished, more or less at least, until the retirements and that disqualification, which is still quite odd. I'm not sure how he wants to survive that race. I mean, if he already gets disqualified in a 5-lapper, how will it look like in a 50% race? But anyway, hopefully he will get um, himself together and be able to actually finish the race. Would be a shame if he wouldn't. We obviously would like to see all 20 cars finish the race, but it's always pretty difficult, especially on the first couple of laps, like you said, with those tricky corners around here. It is quite difficult.
Yeah, trying to keep your momentum on this track is also quite hard, as it's the longest track on the calendar, so you gotta try and make every corner as good as possible, really, to be able to get a good lap around here. Takes quite a lot of consistency, but a disqualification, obviously he wants to do better than that, and I think we'll see less retirements. People can be much more calm on this feature race, I imagine, so
I certainly hope so, because otherwise it could be a very boring race if we only got 10 runners at the end of the race. But yeah, I'm really hoping for um, for it to get a bit better. Pixie has just joined the chat, has said good evening and a juicy first race. I've heard yes, Pixie was indeed a very juicy race, a very aggressive one, a lot of carnage on the first lap especially, and the fight for the win, which was actually quite good to see. But let's see if it's actually if we are actually able to have a race that is a little more calm. But I can tell you, Jack, from doing FP comms last season, uh, realistic cars often create some more excitement, obviously with those engine differences on the straights. Uh, and in the corners, obviously, the downforce differences as well.
Now, of course, the realistic cars, it can bring something new to a championship, really, because you've got like two different sides of like quality of driver, I wanted to say, but you've got the really quick people, maybe someone like Bugatti or Lickle, and then you've got people who are less quick, like I know Iro Neon is going on his wheel for now, and he's practicing some wheel with this, so being able to have those two different tiers of drivers in the same league is quite nice, and you'll see different driving styles, but still keeping it all competitive, so I'm excited for this season.
Yeah, so am I. Certainly I am, and especially for that Monaco special, I think that could be quite interesting. But we do have a formation lap, so we have got time to talk about some more things, and I've got time to actually check on which tyres those drivers are on. Oh, and actually, because that race was so heated, I actually didn't look at the tyres everyone was on, and it turns out Willow Wolves and QPR Beast were both on mediums, and it seems like IRL Neon has kept his 10th place, even though he lagged out. His AI did all the race for him, still was allowed to keep that spot. And many drivers outside the top 10 are starting on the medium compound, except from 3 people by the name of Sam, Cam and Nano Bacon. That was a rhyme that was definitely not intended. I'm sorry. It's just their names. But yeah, I think we're on for a really good race.
Absolutely. Willow and QPR will be going medium soft, so I imagine going medium hards would be a little bit stupid, in my opinion. But then maybe we might see a couple of other different strategies, like a soft hards if you don't think your tyre wear is quite up to scratch. And soft medium is also an option, because I know some people might run a soft hard, some other people might run a soft medium, so I think we might see a few different strategies around this track, so hopefully they can provide some good entertainment for us.
Yeah, especially a safety car could also throw the race wide open. I mean, you talked about Radion and how easy it is to lose the car there, especially if you haven't got the most stable setup. And also Puhon is not that easy to take. If you just slightly touch that curb on the left-hand side, on the inside of that double left-hander, you are very likely to spin the car round and into the wall, and that could easily trigger a safety car, which, like I said, could throw the race wide open and show even more different strategies.
Absolutely, a safety car can maybe benefit the soft runners in the early stages of the race, and maybe later on it can really help the medium runners of Willow Wolves, QPR and the people outside the top 10, but yeah, it really depends on what happens in the race. Anything can happen, so I think we're just going to have to wait and see.
That is definitely true. I would be very thankful if you could keep an eye on the back of the grid, as I will be focusing on the front, because this time I actually know who's racing. and I know the starting grid, which is good because like I said, for the qualifying race, it was new to me, so I was quite surprised to see them getting away immediately as the drivers are now lining up. Here they are for Romeo of Skeven, then the McLaren, then the Haas, another Renault. And yeah, the Renaults have done a pretty good job so far as the last few cars are lining up on the grid right now. And we are prepared and set to go. I don't have the best camera angle, as now I have, and the lights are coming on. We're up to 5 red lights. The drivers are ready for the first feature race of the season, and it's lights out and away we go. It seems to be a really good start from Praga in P1. Skeven has to defend himself from Manu into turn 1. He goes down the inside. No contact made between the two of them so far. Skeven has to concede the position, but they're still side by side. He fights back with this Ferrari engine. He's got more straight line speed than the McLaren. The McLaren holds back. Pulls out of that move. QPR Beast has had a good start, moves up into P4. So as Jonathan Willow on his medium compound has lost some positions already, and in the background we can see Lickle is trying to get past Willow, but Greeny gets the position. Slight contact between Lickle and Willow, and Lickle has got front wing damage again.
I've seen a few bits of wing damage coming from the back of the grid. I think a couple of them is Toro Rossos. I'm not sure about the rest, but that start of the race has been relatively clean. No big crashes as of yet, but we're going to have to wait and see. But damage is going to become a thing.
That was really close between the Red Bull of Cayman and Willow Wolves, and Irel Neon says thank you very much, takes the position from the Haas driver, and Willow Wolves is now under pressure from a second Ferrari who also goes past him. David W is now up into P10, and something's been going on. That's Manu going off the track in the first right hand off that chicane after Pooh, and I'm not sure what happened. He hasn't got any front wing damage. Praga has lost the lead on my screen. Oh, he lagged out. So that was quite weird. For me, he was off the track, and now he lagged out on my screen. But Praga has lost the lead to Skeven.
He has indeed. He's also pulled a gap already of 1 second, so as long as he can keep that gap coming into lap 3, then no DRS for him, and except there's some fighting going on behind them, and that's just Joe Manu, who is lagged out of the session, as we already got a pit stop from QPRBs. He's on the medium, so he's either going to try and pull off a 2-stop, or he's going to go on the hards, I imagine.
Yeah, he'll have to make a front wing change, and I'm not sure if Manu is actually allowed to rejoin, because in PSGL you usually are not, because of that glitch that you can cut all the corners, which obviously gives you an unfair advantage. And there's been a spin in the background. That's David W, who has been up into P10 for the moment, but now he dropped down to basically plumb last, 18th actually, because 2 people made a pit stop. Oh, Greenwood actually stayed out. He just spun.
We've got 3 wide coming into Lacombe. Sorry to cut you off there, but we had 3 wide. Haas to Toro Rosso and another Haas, except they're still fighting. Sorry, Bugatti just went straight through the middle of the 2 Haases. Good move from him, taking 2 at once. Well done from Bugatti. Good opportunistic move.
Oh, and Manu has just slightly gone off the track as he's back inside his cockpit. CC Brain has got end plate damage as well. He's up into P13 for the moment, though. Nano Bacon right in front of him now, the other McLaren. And there's quite a lot of position changes going on, and I slightly caught that 3 white moment. That seemed to have not been the easiest moment for those drivers. That must have been pretty scary.
It's always scary going 3 wide, and especially into a corner like Lacombe, which could be quite tight and quite hard to go 3 wide into the curbs. Could be lethal or could favour you. But now New Zealand Cam's going to have a run on Bugatti. I believe he's got better straight line speed in that Ferrari engine over the Honda engine, sorry. So I think New Zealand Cam could maybe try and get...
Manu's retired from the session.
I'm not sure what happened there. You probably saw it better than I did.
No, I didn't, but I just saw it on the minimap. I think he crashed into the wall in the background, and we've got a safety car. Oh, and many people have already passed the pits. What will Lickle do? Lickle dives into the pit lane. New Zealand Cam stays out. Bugatti stays out. Willow Wolf stays out. Sam stays out. I think Lickle's the only one who dived into the pit lane. It's pretty obvious for him. He's got front wing damage. He's missing his end plate once again. Like he has already in the qualifying race. He's started on softs, so he can now change onto the hard compound. He actually switches onto softs, another set of softs for Lickle. So he's definitely going for the 2-stop. And that's an interesting tactic. But right now the grid seems to be calmed down a little bit. And
Oh,
look at Greeny. Greeny is up into P3. Amazing start from him from 9th on the grid. He's now on the podium, so it's a double
it looks like.
Alfa Romeo podium at the moment.
Sorry, it looks like Biz has been stuck in the pit lane. His pit crew just aren't letting him into the box, so he's just sitting there in the pits.
Oh no.
Because they had a double stack, try and catch, and Biz, they both had a pit stop. They both tried the same thing, but now Biz is just stuck there, so I'm not sure what it's going to mean when Tack tries to... Oh wait,
He
he's joined back, so...
Maybe now it works.
Maybe, but this means when Tack tries to pit, he's on the softs, let's not forget. When he tries to pit, will he actually be able to get into his box? But I'm seeing a lot of people trying to do the two-stop now. Instead of going on to hards to the end, they're going to try and do soft, medium, soft, medium, soft. I'm not too sure what the two-stop is around this track, but... You know, that's definitely not good for the Racing Point team.
Nah, not at all, but we've got some winners after that start phase, and especially one of them is Bugatti. Even though he's got some front wing end plate damage, actually not even a full end plate anymore, he's missing the right one, the left one actually. No, it was the right one. He's up into P7 after starting 18th, very impressive job from him. Also, Iron Neon in front of him in P6 at the Ferrari, which he probably wasn't expecting as he was entering that first round. Do we have any more people diving into the pits? I don't think we have. I think everyone stayed out. As far as I'm correct, yes, I think I am. But we also have some people who lost out quite a lot. Willow Wolves is one of them who dropped down 5 positions. But QPR Beast down in 15, 10 positions lost after the start phase. Already had a pit stop though, so has Lickle.
Wait, did I just see rain? We have rain!
We've got rain?
Rain is falling! That's why the people went on the softs!
Oh, now everything makes sense.
Oh, that's really changed things now. As we have CC Brain and Davey pulling into the pits, they've just gone on the softs as well. You have mediums for Davey.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Biz is out on the track as well. So this has really changed the race. Now I'm excited.
Yeah, so am I, and especially will we see a gamble if the safety car stays out just for one more lap? Will we see someone actually gambling it, going onto the inters a bit earlier than you probably should? I don't think we will, because on this game it's not really worth it risking anything. It's pretty scripted when the rain actually hits, and there's just that one point as soon as the inters are better than the slicks. It's not like you could do both kind of thing, which is quite sad. It's not really done too good on this game, but still it definitely creates some excitement now, and I think Skeeven has got the most challenging job of them all right now. He's in the lead, and everyone behind him can either react to him or just do the opposite of him. Praga just might say to himself, you know what, Skeeven is staying out, I can try to go on the onto the Indus a bit earlier than he does, and then he might get a better strategy, or he stays out one more lap than Skeeven.
I know we've talked a lot about, just us two personally, about the scripted kind of like weather on this game. You can really kind of predict it, but on this track, it being the longest with maybe a 1 minute 46 second lap, roughly. I think. Oh, that's a 5 second penalty.
Yep.
Did you see what happened with that?
No, I'm not sure. I think he just hit the car in front, but his pit lane is cleared now. His teammate has gone out of the pits. Is like 1 or 2 laps down now, though. But yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, you can continue with what you were saying.
Okay, so with this being the longest track on the calendar, maybe 1 minute 46 second laps roughly, I'm not too sure myself. Because it's the longest, you've also got more time for when that weather changes. It's quite sudden.
We've got a pit stop from Bugatti.
Better than the slicks. Oh,
is he gonna gamble? I'm not sure. He'll definitely change the front wing. I'm pretty sure. We've got many people diving into the pits. It could be at least one of them to gamble and going on to the Inters. And yes, he does. Bugatti gambles and is the first one to put on the intermediate compound.
We've got basically the entire second half of the grid all going on to the Inters. So this is either going to make or break their race. Because if they've gotten in too early, it could bake their tyres and completely ruin their race. But if they've got this right, all of those top 10 drivers are going to have to pit and they're going to be many seconds in front, maybe 20 seconds in front after they pit. So they could have done this perfectly, as this track does look like it's starting to get rather moist.
Yeah, we actually have like half the grid on the slicks and half the grid on inters, which is pretty interesting. Sam is leading the pack outside the points in P11. He's the first one to be on the inters. It will probably help them that the safety car is pretty slow right now, and maybe the rain just gets that tiny bit heavier, and then the inters could work. And like you said, the pit stop is quite long around here, but also the track is quite long, so one lap too early on the inters or one lap too late on the slicks could make a huge difference. And Davey just picked up a 5-second penalty.
Indeed he did, but it's a really 50-50 decision clearly under a safety car. Safety car can really throw a spanner in the works, you could say, but you know, one of these sets of drivers has got this right, and we're going to be seeing that once the safety car goes in. Who got it right, who got it wrong, second half or first half?
I actually got to say, it looks more and more wet with each second. Rain looks quite heavy. I think we're like maybe a maximum of 2 laps away from actually intermediate conditions. Safety cars coming in this lap, and I think personally, those guys on the inters have made the right call, because it looks very damp already, and I'm not sure if they can. Those guys in the top 10 can pull out such a gap in the next few laps that they will be a pit stop in front of the Inter runners.
Yeah, this is it's quite tense, it's quite unknown, but it really does look quite well. I'm on board with Lickle, and it looks genuinely wet, so we might see some of these front runners dive into the pits for this wet Inter tyres. So
Let's
we might have to watch out for that.
He's controlling the pace. He's diving into the pits.
Oh,
Prager also dives into the pits. Greeny stays out. Otherwise, he had to double stack. And Cayman has stayed out, even though his teammate already was inside the pit lane. And Sam is the net leader of this race. He's gone side by side with Bugatti, though. Into turn 1, they're passing a guy on the mediums, and there goes Sam. He hits the Renault in front. He hits him off. QPR Beast goes off the track because of that, and now Bugatti's in the net lead. Lico picks up spots as well, goes up into P5. That's absolute chaos, and those drivers on the slick tyres are struggling massively. Just look at QPR Beast. He can barely hold it on the track.
New Zealand Cam almost just got tangled up with Tack, and New Zealand Cam there, his soft tyres are not working on this track. The Inter boys have made a fantastic decision. Already very intense as QPR Beast is just falling down the order. Look at that. He's just lost 3 positions coming into Lacombe. There's a 4th as well. Tack has gone past him. This is, the Inter fellas have made a huge, amazingly good.
Oh, there goes Malam off the track, and CC Brain gets past. Takes advantage of that mistake. He might be getting some pressure from Davey EW as well. No, he doesn't. Bugatti moves himself up into P2 already. And meanwhile, CC Brain is going down the inside of the Haas driver of Willow Wolves, who's still out on the medium compound. And he makes the move stick into Puhon. They were going too wide. And look at Willow Wolves. He's losing positions left, right and centre. And Bugatti has taken the lead.
Those soft tyres are not working. Everyone who pitted on Inters have made the right call, and they're flying through the order. You can see everyone who decided to gamble, staying on the slicks, has not worked for them at all. They're dropping like flies, falling back down the order. Except this is really throwing up a lot of chaos. I think there's quite a lot of contact, a bit of damage come from the back of the pack. Also, we've seen quite a split grid from the people who decided to pit when the safety car ended, except I think we're seeing, yep, that's Tack all over the back of Davey. Oh, he's had to back out though. Davey sent it a little bit wide, so is Tack, except I think he's going to go for the move into the bus stop. He's came round the outside. Will he go for it? He's had a little look. It's not going to happen, except I think there's been a bit of contact. Cayman has just gone wide. Greeny pulls into pits. Cayman goes into pits. Round the outside for Tack. 3 wide through the bus stop.
What a move
Malham.
Round the outside there. Malham was pretty close. I think he was held up by those runners on the slick tyres. Down the inside goes Sam. A very late move once again. He outbrakes himself. He seems to be struggling into the first corner on those inters so far. They're going 3 wide. Down on the run towards Radion. Arouge, actually, I'm sorry, as they're trying to not go too wide there. It is fine, and there's contact between Malham.
The Red Bull, the Mercedes in the wall. That means Davey has managed to come out of that unscathed. I was so worried coming to that, but that means we've got the Red Bull of EVO Sam in the wall, along with Green.
And we've got a VSC.
No, it wasn't Green, sorry. A VSC. That was a big crash. You just saw the Mercedes lose it.
Yeah, it was actually not the Mercedes losing it. It was him being spun round by Davey W, who was just a little bit too close to the rear. And Greeny is on wets. Might it get even more wet? It might get even more wet.
It looks like it. If Greeny's going onto the wets, maybe it's heavy rain, so... Once again, this is another big strategy call.
Another gamble, but I gotta say, those drivers who pitted onto the intermediate tyres have made a perfect strategy call so far. A great decision from those guys, especially Bugatti leading all those drivers behind him into the pits. He has made that call as the first driver, and the others followed him, and they did the right thing and are now in front of most of the drivers who dived into the pits. But I gotta say, Skeven actually did quite a good job to still be P5, even though he pitted one lap later.
Green flags again, we're racing, and JP Green seems to have got a flying start compared to Davey. He's only 5/10 back, but I would... Oh, hang on, Davey's got really slowly. Contact for JP Green, almost losing the car.
He needed the tyre barrier, and yeah, Jonathan gets past both of them. Yeah, Davey has got a massive amount of front wing damage. He's basically got a plank hanging from his nose, which is not really going to help him. You can see he goes massively wide through Blanchimont, slightly goes off the track.
He's going to go around the outside. Trying to go around the outside. JP Green, great. JP Green just about manages to hold him off now, but looks like Iron Neon. He's showing some good pace. He's really revving out the car though. Oh, that hurt my ears. I was not revving. Oh, Greeny's just got a testing a time penalty for extending track limits.
Probably bus stop easily gives you such penalties. And Davey Pitt, so does Malham, was basically taken out by Davey sadly on the run up to Radion. But look at CC Brain, he's catching more and more to Lico.
We've just had a DNF from EVO Sam T.
Yeah, Sam went off before Blanchimont through the right-hander. He hit the wall on the outside, but here comes IRL Noon down the inside of JP Greenwood. Maybe no, he backs out. Maybe tries to put Greenwood under a bit more pressure. Both drivers in a bit lower divisions, and I think IRL Neon has switched on to wheel where he's not on his same pace as he is on his pad. And we've got quite a lot of close battles, but I think Greeny's gamble is not paying off so far.
It looks like it. Oh, there's another yellow flag. I think
that's Malham once again.
It is. He's not having a good day, is he? Oh,
not really being pushed off there at the exactly same corner by Davey on the lap before. But I hope this time there was no contact made. But look at IRL Neon. He's thinking about it. He is a lot quicker. He's got a lot more pace in his Ferrari than Greenwood has got in his Mercedes.
Absolutely. Neon looks like he's absolutely flying right now. He's all over the back of JP, except he just needs to find a way through, which he cannot seem to find just yet.
And I think
he gets a good exit.
I think CC Brain is really struggling to get past Lico. Lico hasn't got the downforce in that Williams, but he has got that straight line speed in comparison to the Honda engine, and Lico picked up a 5-second time penalty for the bus stop chicane. There he goes, IRL Neon down the inside into the bus stop chicane we were just talking about. I just hit something off my desk which wasn't planned, but here he goes round the outside. Can he make the move stick? That will be a brilliant move, and he makes it stick. Fantastic work by the Ferrari driver, and he moves himself up into P7.
Brilliant overtake, I agree. JP Greenwood looks like he's good. Oh, that's so close. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That scared me. JP Greenwood getting too close to comfort for Iron Neon, but Iron Neon, he's already absolutely sent it away. He's got great pace. Now all he has to do is try and catch us 4 seconds to Jonathan ahead of him. Except I would like to say that with no DRS...
Greeny's pitting. Greeny goes back onto Inters.
I think he's made the wrong decision there with the wets. He didn't quite get as wet as he was expecting, which is disappointing for him. But we've got CC Brain is closing up to Lickle blocks ahead of him. They're quite close together, but I would like to say that the slower cars on the engine power... Oh, Malham's gone.
Malham into the pits, I think.
Yeah, I think he's had enough. He's displeased. He's not happy with this, how this race has gone. After a spin and another spin, it's disappointing, but... I was just saying it's the lower powered cars have no longer got the DRS to be able to pull them through in this wet weather. I think we could see them falling back just a little bit. But I think, is that Davey and New Zealand Cam having a fight? Is New Zealand Cam in the session? He looks quite ghosted to me, or it could just be the Haas.
No, he's in the session, I think, I'm pretty sure. But I
Yeah,
got so excited with Aaron Neon and his battle against Greenwood that I tried to sit up, and there goes CC Brain round the outside through Blanchimont. What a move! I think Lickle did not expect that at all. And CC Brain moves himself up into P2, and it's a 1-2 for Toro Rosso at the moment.
I didn't expect that either. That's a fantastic move from CC Brain. I would never have the just bravery to try that through Blanchimont. Never be me. That's why he's one of the top drivers in the Toro Rosso, honestly.
Oh, and Greenwood seems to be struggling. He goes a bit wide through the bus-stop chicane where he already lost his spot to Aaron Neon 1 lap ago. Nano Bacon is right upon his rear, and Praga went past Willow Wolves in the background. Maybe he spun round or something, but let's stay with this battle. And there goes Nano Bacon. He's got a lot more pace than the Mercedes in front of him. By the way, that Toro Rosso seems to be working really nicely in the wet conditions at the moment, but I gotta say, Nano Bacon will be struggling to get past. He loses it through Radion, and he hits the wall.
Oh, he is lucky to still have a car, if I'm honest. Like, the front wing is absolutely more than blown
And we've
off.
got a safety car for that. Another safety car has been called out.
This is... I'm not sure we're going to see as many pit stops this time. I'm not sure if people starting to pit for a new, fresh set of inters, but... Again, Radion spitting out another car. Nano Bacon has got no front wing, he's got a full lap to do with that. Oh, it does not look fun. I feel bad for that man, but another safety car. I'm not sure that warranted a safety car, as he seems to be completely alright. If he lost a wheel, maybe, but considering that he's still going, I don't think that really warrants a safety car.
I'm not sure about that either. Sometimes a lot worse things don't trigger a safety car, but that's how it is on this game sometimes. I definitely know what other word except from bravery you wanted to say for the move around the outside through Blanchimont, which we wouldn't want to say on stream, but yeah, I definitely agree with you there. Couldn't really talk about it because there was a different battle going on in the meantime. Skeven has gone past PMP, try and catch. I'm not sure if that was actually switch of position, but it was shown on the timing sheets. But what I wanted to say before, I was getting so excited with that battle through the bus stop chicane that I tried to move up my chair and nearly hit something off my desk. Bugatti dives into the pit lane. He tries a different strategy.
Tag just hit into the back of Skeven. I don't think he's got damage. I'm not sure.
Yes, and he has to dive into the pits. Lickle dives into the pits as well, and maybe what Greeny did before with the gamble on the wets might pay out once again. Maybe the heavy rain is hitting in a short amount of time. We have got a few drivers into the pit lane, and yes, Bugatti's going on to a new set of inters. He's planning on going to the end, it seems like. Lickle is serving his 5-second stop goal penalty. That is a smart move from him, because those 5 seconds are gone. And PMP Tack goes on to the wets. He gambles.
Yeah, the wets, could it work? It didn't work for Greeny, but maybe it'll work for Tack later on in the race. We're halfway through, so we've still got quite a long way to go. So we're going to have to see how this works out for Tack, but the other people in the pits, I imagine most people are going to go for the inters, if I'm honest.
Yeah, most people have come out on the intermediate tyres. But maybe he knows something nobody else knows. Or maybe the Racing Point team has got some data that the other teams haven't. But we'll have to wait and see how that goes in the end.
Davey does it too. Davey goes on the wets too.
Oh,
so
yes.
This safety car brings out something different in 2 people.
So does New Zealand
Three people have shown the wet, so we're going to have to keep an update on their pace, see how they're doing compared to the inters. It looks quite wet, but I'm not sure it's heavy wet, if I'm honest.
You can definitely take the inters a lot longer than you would think. Those are still fine as long as you stay on the racing line, even if it's heavy rain. It's going to take quite a long time till it's actually ready for wet tyres, but they might be just around equal pace. The difference between inters and wets is not that bad if it's like a crossover period between those two, but right now we've got CC Brain leading because his teammate Bugatti dived into the pits on the previous lap. Skeven into P2, and we can just take a quick look at position changes. CC Brain, incredible, moved up 60 positions. Skeven stayed where he started, and Bugatti up 15 positions. Praga has lost out massively after that safety car phase where many people gambled, and Greenwood just picked up a 5-second penalty and front wing damage. He will have to pit once again.
That's disappointing for JP Greenwood. He hasn't had the best race. His pace doesn't seem to quite be there in the wets. But people who have had a good race, the Toro Rossos, if Skeven pits again, that's still a 1-2 for them, which means up 16 positions.
Biz has been disqualified.
I just saw him go past the
he unlapped himself, and the game disqualified him. That's
disappointing.
That's really that shouldn't be happening, because that's legal in real life F1. Obviously, as soon as you get the call from the stewards saying you're good to pass the cars in front to unlap yourself, that is sadly not possible in the game. But yeah, that's
2 more people in the pits.
Not what he deserved.
I feel bad for him, as he just got held in the pit lane, which is just really disappointing and sad for him. I think he just lagged out the session. It completely ruined his race. He tried to fix his race, but Codmaster said no, so that's disappointing. But as I was saying, the Toro Rossos both be up 16 places if Bugatti can get past Skeven.
Got another driver gambling on the wet. Sorry to interrupt you, but it is JP Greenwood, who now retires from the session. I think
was that maybe not what he wanted?
Yeah, maybe he picked the wrong tyres, and New Zealand Cam comes back into the pits. Maybe he switches back onto Inters. Yes, he does. He switches back into the intermediates. He thinks the gamble is not going to pay off.
Maybe the wet isn't the right call, so Tak and Davey, they're just going to start falling back once again. So, New Zealand Cam having second thoughts. God, this weather really does bring out, split opinions and divisions in this grid. It really does.
Definitely, and I just want to make sure, because on my screen it says that Biz has actually not been disqualified in the timing sheets, but you did see the message pop up, right?
I think I did see the message pop up, yeah. It's just I didn't really clock in my brain how he's still driving along, so...
Yeah, he's still driving along, so it seems like he's still fine, but I'm pretty sure it said disqualification and ignoring yellow flag, but maybe that's just a bit glitched or something.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Right,
we'll find out.
Trying to catch back up to the safety car train.
It's got a very long way to go though. I'm not sure if he'll make it.
He'll need another lap. He needs the safety car to stay out at least one more lap to have a chance to catch up. We will now know if the safety car will come in at the end of this lap as soon as it crosses the line, and it doesn't. It stays out for one more lap, and Biz will be very happy to see that.
Yeah, he might just about be able to catch up. He's on the opposite end of the track though. This is such a long track, it's going to be hard for him to catch up, but he might just be able to do it. But CC Brain in the driving seat of this race. We're going to have to see if he can get a good start. What Skeven does, will he pit? Actually, will both of them pit for new Inters at some point during this race? Only 10 more laps to take them. If their Inters can hold out, it might be alright. But if they do have to pit, Bugatti will be able to take this lead of the race quite comfortably, I think.
Yeah, I think Bugatti's made the right call by pitting. He is safe to go to the end, so he won't have to worry about any tyre issues. It should be completely fine for him. But those drivers in P1 and P2, also in P4 and P5, and also maybe even P6, might be struggling to take these Inters to the end, because there is a chance they wear out at some point, especially the rears and out of that slow traction corners. And yeah, that's not going to be the easiest task for those drivers, but it's still, you can still do it. But I think Bugatti's got the best cards to win this race right here.
Willow Wolves, I think, has just gone onto the wet tyres though, so we got another gambler.
And if you go on board real quick, for example with the CC Brain, you can see there are puddles building off the racing line, and that usually is a sign that it's now not even light rain, it is heavy rain right now. But like I said, the transition between heavy and light rain and Inters and wets is quite long. You can take the period of both tyres being around equally quick. Maybe Inter's a bit quicker or Wet's a bit quicker, but not a massive difference. That amount of time, that period of time is quite long. So we will have to wait and see, but we could see the Wets being quicker at some point of the race.
We're going to have to keep an eye on people like Tack, Davey and Willow Wolves to see how they do, but it looks like Biz is going to catch on. Actually, Willie, it's about 27 seconds off. He might be able to just about catch onto the back of this train and, you know, fix his race after that unlucky glitch. But we're going to have to keep an eye on Tack and Davey, Willow Wolves to see how they do, so maybe it wasn't worth JP Greenwood retiring in the pits.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, we can't predict anything. I've heard on the new game, the commentators or the spectators are supposed to get like a bit of a tyre strategy thing. Maybe we'll also know a bit more about weather forecasts, which will be quite nice to know, because obviously we have no clue of what will happen within the next few laps of this race in terms of weather. But the safety car does come in at the end of this lap. And from now on, CC Brain is controlling the pace and has the right to go very, very slowly. He is not allowed to speed up and then slow down again. That is not legal. But he can go quite slow indeed, which he does at the moment. And it really helps Biz to catch up, and he is at the back of this train.
Lucky for Biz, he's managed to catch back up. Maybe if we see him just skyrocket through the order. You never know, but we're going to have to watch this. This is going to be quite intense these last 9-ish laps, I think. So I'm excited for this restart.
So am I, especially with these tricky conditions. It is very easy to spin out. And yeah, we'll have to wait and see how CC Brain manages it. He goes now and out of the bus-stop chicane. It looks like it's been a very solid restart. Skeven is already under pressure from Bugatti, and in the background we've got Iron Neon nearly spinning round. Skeven in the meantime seems to have been able to break a bit later. In the background we've got P&P Tack already losing positions left, right and centre. He's really struggling on the wets so far. The extremes don't seem to be working at the moment, but Bugatti is really looking forward to that P2 at the moment. Skeven though has got the Ferrari engine. He's too far away from CC Brain though.
Yeah, Praga looks like he's flying.
And here goes Cayman down the inside. Sorry to interrupt you. Down the inside of RL Neon goes Cayman. Backs out though. They don't want to go side by side through here. Maybe now round the outside. That will be a brilliant move from the Red Bull driver. Down the inside for the next right-hander. He slides out wide a little bit. Struggles for traction. Now he's got the inside line for the hairpin, the long hairpin. And he makes the move stick. Great racing between the two of them. And a nice move from the Red Bull driver.
Neon and Cayman really having a good fight, except this has meant Lickle Blocks and Praga have caught back up to them. Tag seems to just about be keeping on the pace, but I'm not too sure. But no, the Inters and the Wets seem to be quite even, but I think the Inters is still the right call. Iron Neon putting up a really good fight with Cayman. He's just going to wait until the bus stop, I imagine. As Cayman goes a little bit wide, which is going to lose him time. Lickle Blocks and Praga behind him, though, are quick drivers, so as long as they can keep a bit of pace with them, it should be okay.
Praga is really putting the pressure on the Williams of Lickle at the moment. In the background we've got P&P Tack losing more and more positions with each corner and losing more and more time with each corner. Seems like the wets are just not working so far, but maybe they will be quicker towards the end of this race. Who knows? We can definitely see the racing line is still a lot less wet than the rest of the track, which is probably going to help the intermediate runners. But as soon as you go off that racing line, you are really going to struggle for grip.
I think I've just seen a bit of damage down the back of the grid. I just saw a bit of carbon fibre fly across the screen. I'm not too sure who that was, but I retract my statement about the wets being good. Willow Wolves changes his mind. He's back in the pits unless he had damage.
And New Zealand Cam goes down the inside of P&P Tack and tries to switch back on his wet tyres, but these extremes just don't seem to be working. Not at all so far, and let's see if we can have some moves further up the grid. Prague is pretty close to Lickle, but Lickle has got that great straight line speed with this Mercedes engine behind his back, and he's keeping the spot for now.
Looks like I retract my statement about the wets being equal. His Tack might be trying to go around the outside. New Zealand Cam goes up his inside into Lacombe. Good move from Cam. Now the Bacon's just a little bit off that
And
side.
he spins
technical
round.
extraction. He's spun. He's round. The wets not working for him. Tack, I think he's made the wrong call, which is really unlucky for him.
He took the
But
gamble,
yeah.
it didn't work, but sometimes, like Daniel Ricciardo would say it, you have to lick the stamp and send it, and that's what he did. He sent it into the pit lane, put on a different tyre, risked everything,
Oh, Prague
and it
got
didn't
around the
work out.
outside little blocks. That is a great move from Prague. He's going to be on the inside for the next corner. That took, once again, bravery, but they still go side by side, Prague and Little Blocks. Little Blocks stays ahead for now, but Prague, he's really... Oh, these two very, very equal. Down the inside he goes. I think he's going to make the move stick. Little Blocks is going to try and hold on. So he's going to have to concede. He's going to have the slipstream though on the superior engine. Praga doesn't have the exit. Oh, okay, they've just gone inside each other. We're going to ignore that. They're still going to go side by side. Coming into Blanchimont. Is one of them going to back out? Are they going to try and say something?
Oh, he gets pushed out wide
Almost
onto the grass,
wide.
and maybe Greeny's got the chance down. No, they're going still side by side, and maybe Greeny goes into that fight now as well. Praga tries to hold it round the outside into the bus-stop chicane, breaks later, and keeps the spot, and there goes Greeny down the inside of Lico. That was quite aggressive, quite clumsy of the Alfa Romeo driver, but he's not having it. He doesn't want to wait. They're still going side by side. So far, it's quite clean between those drivers. Lico breaks a lot later, but there goes the switchback from Greeny, and he moves himself up into P8. Lico just lost 2 positions in 1.
Little Blocks out braking himself into turn 1, which is disappointing for him, but Praga, very well done. I aspire to be this level of driver. That was fantastic from him, just going around the outside. I'm not sure which corner it was, I'm not sure the name, but fantastic, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, the racing standards we've seen so far in general quite clean. I don't think we've seen a proper unfair driving behaviour so far. It's definitely quite professional in here, which is really good to see, and the racing so far is really, really fun to watch. We've seen some great moves, and I couldn't even decide on an overtake of the day so far.
Honestly, I completely agree with you. We've seen some fantastic racing. However, the top 3 drivers of this race are currently within a second of each other. The Toro Rosso of Bugatti, the Alfa Romeo Schiven, and the Toro Rosso again of CC Brain. So these 3 seem to really be controlling the race at the moment. So I want to keep an eye on that, see how they all do.
Yeah, also we've got a very shook up grid. We've got drivers which we wouldn't really expect to be up there. One of them would be IRL Neon. He said he doesn't expect much from himself with his wheel, but he's actually doing a really good job so far, currently in P6, but Praga is on the chase for him. He wants to get that 6th place in the end, and Neon will be struggling to stay in front of that Renault.
Absolutely, Praga is flying once again. We've got a lot of people going very quickly. But Little Blocks, I'm not sure he's quite on the pace. We've got New Zealand Cam, who seems to be... He was catching him, but then he just didn't quite have...
I just saw it on the gap as well. I don't know what happened there. Right now, still following the more or less battle for the lead. CC Brain still manages to stay in front of Schiven, who has got the disadvantage in the second sector with those quick corners.
Oh, Neon's just... Oh, he's just lost it under his brakes. He broke a little bit too late, which means Praga has just gone straight up his inside. No questions asked, and has gone for it. Except...
Oh, and Schiven was struggling out on the exit out of Radion, and that gives Bugatti the chance to make a move on for second place on lap 17 of this race. He goes round the outside into Les Combes. Can they keep it clean? No, they can't. They make contact, and Bugatti spins round.
Bugatti, so disappointing. Our reigning champion made a little bit of contact with his side pod and just spins round and drops down the grid. Oh, that Williams getting very close of Little Blocks. I know those two are good friends, so I imagine they're in a party together communicating. That was very close, but so disappointing for Bugatti.
He's got full wing damage as well. He'll be struggling to go to the end with that one and staying inside the points, but it didn't even look that bad in terms of contact on my screen. Nano Bacon's got massive amounts of front wing damage as well. By the way, I was keeping an eye on Davey, who is right behind Biz, and he's not really losing time, even though he's on wets. Might just be Biz struggling quite a lot, but still, the contact didn't even look too bad on my screen. Seems like Schiven braked a bit later than Bugatti and tried to, push him off the track slightly, but I'm pretty sure that, that amount of contact wasn't intended by the Alfa Romeo driver. And it just ended with a lot of bad luck and a spin from Bugatti, who's now down into 8th place, which is a shame. but like I said, it didn't even look that bad. They make contact, he lost front wing and suddenly spun round. I think that's due to the wet conditions as well, maybe.
Yeah, the side pod can really ping a car off it if it wants to, so it's like a trampoline sometimes. It'll just send you off into another dimension, but that's really disappointing for Bugatti. Those things happen. As we got XMK Future saying side pod standard incident. It's just those things happen, I guess. But Nanobacon's going to stay out with his wing damage, which means New Zealand Cam is going to be able to get very, very close to him. But after Bugatti basically being taken out of this race, looks like it's going to be between CC Brain and Skeven till the end.
But
CC Brain having a second gap.
Greeny is having a go at RL Neon so far as they're going up Radion, and Neon seems to be struggling with pace right now as Green has been catching up more and more. Will Neon properly defend? It seems like he keeps his line down the inside. Goes Greeny into Lecombe. Can they keep it clean? And no, Iron Neon gets pushed out wide. Maybe he has to give back that spot, but that was a bit clumsy from Greeny from my perspective. Yes, he has to give back that position, but it didn't look like the cleanest move of Greeny. He pushed him a bit wide. Could have given him a bit more space, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if you heard, but I was about to shout then. I thought Neon had lost it. I was about to scream. But, you know, I noticed that he hadn't actually spun, so I kind of tailed off like a dying cat. But this has meant Bugatti has managed to catch back up as Neon had to give the place back as he cut the corner. But a bit clumsy from Greeny, but Neon's going to want that position once again. But I think that's just a standard racing incident.
And we'll have to keep an eye on Praga. He's showed some great pace, not only in the qualifying race, but also now in the feature race, which obviously was interrupted by that strategic mistake he made, staying out on the slicks. He lost a lot of time because of that. We've got yellows in the second sector.
Oh, that's Takambi's! Both racing points doing the same thing. I just switched between them. They're both just sliding, Tokyo drifting. So the two racing points not having a good day at all.
And yeah, Praga's showed some great pace, and Cayman actually outbrakes himself completely, goes wide out of the bottom chicane. Praga says thank you very much and picks up P4 and is now willing to take the fight up to Jonathan, who is currently sitting in P3 with that Williams. He hasn't got much downforce on that car, and Praga's got 4 laps to catch up around 3 seconds. He has got the pace and he has got the chance. Also, Skeven is only 6 tenths behind CC Brain, so that battle for P1 and for the feature race win could get pretty nasty indeed as well.
Indeed, I think we might be seeing side by side up El Rouge. No, he backs out. Nanobacan
I think that's
New Zealand having
the
a good
better
fight.
for both. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
we could have seen some chaos and some not too good looking pictures. And it looks like Cayman has got some front wing damage. Yes, he's missing his front right end plate. Don't know if that was the case before, but he definitely has not got his front right end plate. And the Renault driver is now struggling for pace. Greeny's right behind him. Aaron Neon is right behind Greeny. And Bugatti is catching up to Aaron Neon, who loses the rear end completely and nearly spins it into the wall.
Absolutely, this wet weather, I think it's getting a bit heavier soon. Slidey cars happening right now, but Praga, he's been really opportunistic, just making those opportunities count. But Bugatti looks like he's going to try and have a resurgence and come back through this grid and try and get a little bit higher up. But we've got a 4-car train going on, which is quite nice to see.
Yeah, also we'll have to keep an eye on the battle for the lead. Like I said, the gap between CC Brain and Skeven isn't really growing, but it isn't like going down either. It's pretty much staying the same, around 7 tenths all the time on the straights. Skeven is gaining slightly, but seems like he's struggling for grip at the moment. CC Brain is on 1 lap older tyres, which could make a difference in the end, but we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. I think I'm seeing even more and more cars just starting to struggle a bit. Neon is definitely starting to feel the pressure from Bugatti, who's all over his gearbox. Look at that, only 2 tenths separating them. Is Bugatti going to go for a move into the first square? He is, he's going to go for it into La Sauce. Neon has to give him that position there, except Bugatti's running a little wide. Neon has had a great exit though. I don't think he's going to go side by side and tell Rouge. Even he knows that's not the right idea, but he's unbelievably close. A bit like that happening for Bugatti, but they're very close. Oh, Neon, okay.
Yeah, just two positions in front though. There comes Green. He tries to go round the outside of Cayman on the Camel Straight, and he makes the move stick with his more powerful car on the straight. He's got the speed, but maybe Cayman tries to fight back. He thought about it, backed out though.
Absolutely. A few position changes. I keep seeing the yellow flag thing, but I'm not sure what that's about.
I think that is Biz actually in the last sector. I think he spun round. Look at Skeven. Skeven has caught up even more.
Oh, a bit of contact coming from the Haas and the McLaren. Nano Bacon and New Zealand Cam having a little bit of a ding-dong at the back there. But Skeven and CC Brain do look like they're very equal on pace at the moment. But I'm going to keep with this battle of these two. Nano Bacon loses it on the brakes, going a little bit deep. Biz retires from his session, but these two going side by side. I think this is X, or No Name, whatever, that's what their two names are. But those two going together, still very, very close, only a tenth separating them. No moves are going to be made for a while, I don't think, but these two having a right ding-dong for the last points.
Yeah, I'm really glad we've got 4 eyes on this race instead of only just 2. I'm really glad you're here to keep an eye on everything because quite a lot is going on. And I said Praga has got amazing pace, and he's showed that once again. He's only 4 tenths behind Jonathan right now, and Jonathan is going to be struggling to keep that podium. But bear in mind that Renault engine isn't really strong on that Camel Straight, so Praga will have to get a great exit out of the previous corner to actually make a move work. Iron Neon picks up a 10-second tyre penalty for exceeding track limits through bus stop. I think that could be removed after the race though.
Here comes New Zealand Cam going down the inside of Nano Bacon. He's gone for into bus stop. He's lost it a little bit under the brakes, going a little bit deep, but he still keeps the position as Nano Bacon couldn't quite find an answer to that.
Slides. That was a drift and a half.
Nice. It's nice to look at, but not exactly nice for pace, if I'm honest with you. But Praga, he's got 2 laps to try and get this podium off of BDG Jonathan, who is in the weaker car technically.
And sorry to interrupt you, but there goes Bugatti round the outside of Cayman 1 lap later than Greeny did the move on him. Now Bugatti gets past and fights back up, and so does Lico down the inside of IRL Neon. He tries to fight it, but now he backs out. He decides that his fight for P8 is over for now, and he yields back. But Bugatti is doing a really good job fighting back more towards the front. Maybe he can get into the top 5 positions, even though he's got his front right end plate missing.
Absolutely, but Praga is closing more and more and more to Jonathan. He's all over the back of him. It's not going to be long until he tries to get that podium position off of him.
Oh,
and Steven looks like...
I've just realised, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but if we go on board, we're about to start the final lap. If you go on board with Skeven, look at the amount of ERS he's got. He's got loads of ERS. He saved it completely. He's got 95% of ERS left, while CC Brain in the lead has only got 35. So we might see it come down to the last lap of this race between the 2 race leaders. Praga, though, in the meantime, is right behind Jonathan.
Absolutely, I think Skeven is he's planned it all for this last lap. He's going to give it an almighty push for the end, which is also what Praga's going to have to do. Oh, it's a huge lock-up all the way through his braking zone, but he's still close to Jonathan. It's going to be all or nothing for these podium positions. The race win, the 3rd place, is going to get intense.
You can definitely see that he's got a lot more ERS left, and he might go for a surprising move somewhere in the 2nd sector. He's got a solid run out of Radion, but CC Brain is still too far ahead for the moment. What will Praga do? He is closer to Jonathan. He's got more ERS than Jonathan. Jonathan has only got around 10% of ERS left, but he's still too far away for Praga to actually set up a move.
The Renault engine is a little bit too weak. Oh, he's got
that was close.
Praga's pushing this car really, really hard. He's just locking up everywhere. But Greeny is still really close to this battle, so maybe even Greeny could try and get this podium, or even Bugatti. We don't know, but Skeven only 5 tenths away from CC Brain.
He's in non-ERS mode, though. He's in non-ERS mode. I don't know why he's still saving.
ERS, sorry. He really needs to use it if he wants to make
and there goes Praga. Oh, he was so close to Jonathan. I actually thought he would go for a move into Puhon for a second, which would not have ended good. It probably would have ended in tears. He's got a great run out of Puhon though. Will he go for a decisive move around the outside into the chicane? He thought about it, but yields back and stays behind. That's a 4-car train. Anything could still happen for the podium. Who will get that final spot on the podium? Praga has a look around the outside again, but no, he's too far away. Maybe now down the inside. No, he backs out once again, and here comes Greeny on Praga. He's got hot lap ERS mode. He gets pushed onto the grass. It's the last lap. It's all coming down. We'll take P3. Greeny at least takes P4 for now. Skeven and CC Brain come around the final few corners to take the win. CC Brain wins in front of Skeven, but what is with P3? They're going 3 wide in the last lap. Who's going to get the position? Bugatti's got a great exit. Can he even get past Greeny? It's going to be close across the line, and Praga gets it on penalties.
Unbelievable racing right at the end. Jonathan holds on to that third place just about. Not much in it at all. I can't even see the gap between Praga and Bugatti because they got the arrows in the way. But Praga and Bugatti gone wheel to wheel across the line along with Cayman. Or was it Lickle? I'm not sure. I've lost track of everything. That was so close for the end. Fantastic racing for everyone. Really well done for CC Brain for the win. Skeven couldn't quite make it. He had a penalty anyway, so it wouldn't have made too much of a difference.
That's why he didn't send it in the end.
Yeah, it appears that way. But fantastic racing for everyone. This has been a really entertaining race. The wets gambles didn't quite come off, but the Inters, everyone who pitted for the Inters at the start, made the right call, and it ended well for them.
Gotta say, it was it really was a great race. It looked like Bugatti was on his way to win that race in the end, but after the first safety car, when he gambled onto the Inters and was leading the race, but Skeven actually recovered quite nicely, even though he didn't pit before. Impressive job to come P2, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember what CC Brain did exactly. I don't know if he gambled on the safety car as well. I don't think he did.
I've kind of lost track of...
He did. I think he did. I'm not very sure. I need to check. But there we have it. CC Brain, the German, takes the win.
I'm sure that makes you happy.
Of course it does. And he wins the first feature race of this Grid 2 of the PSGL FP Challenge Cup. And yeah, Jack, I think we saw a great race. And I think we'll hear a very happy winner in the podium interviews.
Absolutely. If they can carry on supplying this level of racing, then well, I'm very satisfied, because that was a really fun race to watch. Just absolutely great stuff from everyone. Clean racing mostly all round, but yeah, a lot of wheel-to-wheel action.
And there we have it. For P17 on the grid as well, CC Brain wins the race in front of Skeven and Jonathan. And Praga, after starting pole, only finishes 4th in front of Bugatti with his front wing damage. He fought back into the top 5 positions and took P5. In the end, Cayman dropped down to 6th, while Lickle took 7th. Greeny finished 8th. New Zealand Cam finished 9th, and IRL Neon took 10th in the final points paying position. Nano Bacon just missed out on the points. He finished P11. QPR Beast had a lot of bad luck, finished P12. Willow Wolves P13. Davey W had a few incidents, finished P14. And PMP Tack gambled on the extreme wet tyres, and it didn't pay off. He finished last out of the drivers who actually finished the race, and those are your retirements. So yeah, quite an entertaining one, I'm not gonna lie.
Absolutely. I mean, I've really enjoyed commentating over that. The podium run is very well done, but I have to give out to CC Brain, 17th to 1st. I imagine he was one of the people who made the gamble for the Inters under the safety car, but very, very well done from him. I mean, almost at the back of the grid, straight to the front, and to win the race quite commandingly, so, you know, fair enough to him, well done. I like that race.
That is absolutely true, as I quickly need to talk a bit more because people can't hear you while I'm trying to invite those people because I'm on a different screen. I'm very thankful you suggested all of them. Those are being invited, and now the viewers can hear you once again. which is good. And we are waiting for the drivers to join the podium interviews after that fantastic race. And yeah, it was really entertaining.
Yeah, apparently Cam had no sound or race. I'm just looking at the chat. JV Greenwood has no self-check weather before the race, so I mean that's always a good thing to do. So yeah.
Well, I hope it's gonna stay like that for the rest of this little season, because if it does, we're definitely gonna enjoy it. And we have our first driver to join the podium interviews, which will be our race winner, CC Brain. First of all, congratulations on your win today. And you started in P18 or 16?
17.
17. And you've done a great job to fight your way up to P1. Just talk us through your race.
Yeah, coming up to this race, I was not really expecting anything. I was trying to do no assists for the first time back since the start. But yeah, qualifying race was not good. I got kinda taken out with this huge crash. And yeah, and then fell up to P20 midway through in the race, but made the crucial call for Inters when it was in safety cars, and yeah, and then came through to win.
Yeah, we did see some people gambling. We weren't quite sure if you were one of those people who actually gambled onto the Inters, but that was a brilliant strategy call, which basically put you right up to the front of the grid in P2 eventually. And then Bugatti decided to pit for another set of Inters. You decided to stay out. Did you have any idea on what Bugatti was trying to do with that pit stop?
Yeah, first of all, initially I wanted to pit when under the safety car went for another soft set, but initially I wanted to pit for Interst as well, so I think I would have been even higher up. And yeah, Bugatti, it was, I don't know what he was doing. Firstly I thought he would go for the wets because it was heavy rain, so I thought he would go for them, but I think he just wanted to get fresh tire wear because mine were like 70% in the end now. So it was nearly close to the puncture rate, but I thought I could make them stick.
Yeah, and you were, even after the safety car restart, you were more or less under constant pressure from Skeven behind, and was more or less a bit back and forth with the gap between you two. It was always around 7/10, then sometimes it dropped. He dropped out of that 1 second window, and then he came back into it. How did you keep your concentration up? How did you manage to always keep the pace up?
Yeah, I think I was more worried about Bugatti because he had a fresh set of Inters, but then something behind happened I couldn't really see. I think an incident between Skeven and him, and yeah, having him, I think it was not really that big of a threat because it really wasn't showing an error of something because you were so far ahead from the long straights. And yeah, I knew he had a 3-second time penalty, so I was just playing it cool and yeah, bring the car home.
Yeah, you definitely indeed played it very cool and brought the car home safely in P1 and took the 4 points of the feature race. And with that first race win after the first race of this Challenge Cup, what are your expectations for next week as we are heading to Baku?
Not much, because I know how slow the Williams is.
Alright, that's a very realistic expectation. I gotta say the Williams does not feel great at all in this game, and especially around a street circuit like Baku, you do need that downforce at some parts. But with that being said, congratulations on your win today, and I would like to wish you the best of luck for next week.
Thank you.
Alright then, Jack, as I don't think we have got our second place driver Skeven in the interviews. Do you want to take over for our third place driver?
Okay, we'll do Jonathan. You had quite a lot to do in the last laps of that race with it was Bugatti, Praga, and I think it was Greeny all behind you. How did you manage to, what was going through your head as you're trying to hold on to that P3?
Yeah, I think the Renault hit me out of the last turn for the straight, for the back straight, so he didn't have the momentum. And then the Renault and the Toro Rosso tangled a bit, so I had no worries that they gonna attack me.
Fair enough. It was really all going on for you in that race. Getting P3 in the first race of this season, coming into Baku, how do you think you can do?
Yeah, which car do I have now? The Alpha or
Toro Rosso, I think.
Ah, even better. Yeah, should be quite good because of the high downforce of the Toro Rosso. I mean, I was like 2/10 slower in the first sector today, like 1 second in the middle sector and 2/10 in the last sector. So the Williams is bad overall. The corners, on the straights, everywhere. So I'm quite happy with the Toro Rosso now.
That's about all the questions I have for you, unless Felix has any more.
No, not really. Just want to congratulate on the first podium in the first race, in the first feature race at least. And good luck for next week.
Thank you.
Well, Jack, with that being said, and the first round of the FP Challenge Cup from Grid 2 being done, I think we weren't disappointed at all. We have been in for a treat here, and I think that was a great race. I mean, that was not really a point in time where we were bored, was it?
Absolutely, I agree with you. It's a really good race for me to first ever commentate with on PSGL, but yeah, we were really in for a treat, as you said. Always good racing, always good action. No real down points in the races. Even the safety cars provided some action as people trying to do some gambles with their tyres, which paid off or didn't pay off, so I was very entertained.
Yeah, it's not quite often you see actually gambling strategies in terms of weather conditions on the F1 games, because like we said, it's quite scripted usually on the F1 games, but some drivers have made amazing calls today and picked up well-deserved podiums. And I think as we're heading to Baku next week, I don't think Baku is known for boring races, and I think it will provide even more chaos, especially that qualifying race will be one to watch out for.
Absolutely, maybe some people getting pushed off into the walls of the castle section. If someone crashes through there, all hell can break loose. So I imagine we're going to be seeing a couple more safety cars in that one as well. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm very excited for next week.
Yeah, so am I. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to join us yet again for next week for the second round of the FP Challenge Cup, which will be around Baku. Same time, same day, same commentators. And thank you for joining me, Jack. It was a pleasure once again to have you with me.
You too. Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see you guys next week. And make sure to check out the other grids race. Grid 1 was at the same time as our race. And until next week, take care and goodbye.